Hi, and welcome to this episode of Tasty Tuesday. Today we're going to make a recipe called Zesty Baked Chicken. And I actually saw this recipe from Texas A&M and I thought, well, we would give it a try. And it's something a little different from barbecue chicken or just your regular baked chicken. It's got some Catalina in it, and I thought, well, this sounds pretty good. Maybe we can try it one night for dinner, and I thought, well, we'll have it for Tasty Tuesday. This recipe calls for 6 chicken breasts, and I actually cut mine in half. They were so large, I thought, well, I'm just going to cut them in half, and I can freeze the other half for a later time. But this recipe does call for 6 chicken breasts, and I've already have them ready to go into my baking dish. So I'm going to place these in my dish, and it does not have to be greased or anything. You're just going to place your breast in. And just to kind of give you a helpful little tip, if you're like me, sometimes you don't really plan and you get home and you're thinking, well, what am I going to make? And of course I've got chicken that's frozen. So there are 3 ways you can defrost your chicken. Now if you plan ahead, you can defrost it in your refrigerator and have it ready to cook. Or you can defrost it in your sink, changing the water every 30 minutes. So you just can't leave it in water all day. You have to change that water every 30 minutes. And lots of times when I teach class, people will say, well, I just put it on the countertop in the morning and when I come back home, it's defrosted. Well, that's a very unsafe way to defrost because the outsides or the edges of your chicken are getting warm and the middle of your chicken, still, got ice on it. So that's not a safe way to do it. And the last way you can defrost your chicken is in the microwave, but you immediately have to cook it. You can't change your mind after you've defrosted in the microwave. You're going to have to cook it. So there's some little helpful hints for you if you're like me and you work and you just don't have time to sit around and wait for your chicken to defrost. But the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our ingredients to top our chicken, and I'm going to go wash my hands because I don't want to spread any kind of germs from our chicken. When you're messing with raw meats, you don't want to cross-contaminate. So if I had that raw chicken on my hands and then I would go and touch my Catalina, I'm just transferring that raw chicken to my container. So always wash your hands. So this recipe calls for 6 ounces of Catalina dressing, which is 3/4 cups. So we're going to measure out our dressing. Add that to a bowl. All right, after we've measured our Catalina, we're going to measure 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce and add it to the Catalina. And that's low fat Catalina. And this is low sodium soy sauce, and it's also 1 teaspoon. Then we're going to add our garlic powder, which is a 1/2 teaspoon. Okay, and after our garlic powder, we're going to add our onion powder. And then we're going to add 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. So few ingredients. Most of these you have in your pantry anyway. You may just have to buy your Catalina, and you're just going to mix these together. And then you'll pour evenly over your chicken breast. And this recipe is cooked at 350 degrees, and you're going to bake it 45 to 55 minutes, and you want to get the internal temperature to 165 degrees. And I'm just going to kind of spread my sauce out over my chicken. And you don't cover it, you're just going to leave it uncovered and place it in the oven. And I'm going to set my timer. I'm going to put it for 50 minutes. See when it's done.
Okay, so our chicken looks to be done, but we're going to take the guesswork out of knowing whether or not our chicken is done cooking by taking the internal temperature of our chicken breast. So the way that we can do this is we can take our tongs, and I'm going to start with the one in the center. The one in the center is a little thinner, but we'll start there. And I usually kind of go in from the side, making sure the thermometer is inserted in the center and that it's not coming out. And I'm looking for an internal reading of about 165 degrees, and it looks like we are there. And I'm just going to test some of our thicker chicken breasts just to ensure that they are all cooked thoroughly. And again, we have reached our 165 degrees. If you're like me and you have limited time in the evening, sometimes it's really easy to get in the habit of cooking similar dishes over and over. So this recipe is not only quick and simple, but it has great flavor to give you a little extra variety. And it helps that we are using chicken breast because this is a great high protein, lean meat that is always a great addition to your menu. So we hope you will give this recipe a try and add it to your menu, and we hope you will join us back next month for another episode of Tasty Tuesday.